Oh, hi. Didn't see you there. I was just opening up this fancy new briefcase I just found. Wonder what's inside. Oh, wow. That Alien franchise is still running, huh? In case you haven't been made aware, there's a new Alien film coming out. The trailer even showed before Deadpool and Wolverine, so, definitely fun hearing reactions to that. But seeing the trailer on the big screen reminded me of when our parents saw the originals on the big screen too, and how less and less of them saw each movie, wishing it ended. But it hasn't, and throughout all the years there's been a film for almost every genre and every type. Want a war allegory for the Vietnam War? Okay. Want a film questioning our place in the universe? Okay. Want a versus film with the aliens and the predators where most of the gore is Nickelodeon slime? Sure, why not? Want a film where people are militarizing xenomorphs until a bunch of space pirates hijack it, only to undergo some wacky hijinks with a clone version of Ripley who can talk to aliens? Why? But sure, let's have that too. But how would we even reach something like that? I'm sure you're asking. Well, the answer is a little bit more complicated than a simple one, so it's important to talk about what the previous film even left us with. Nothing. Everyone was dead. Ripley fell into an explosion with a chest burster. Can't get more definitive than that. So, yeah, not good. And in case you didn't know, Alien 3 had a bit of a troubled production. Originally, it was supposed to follow Hicks from the previous film, as he went on an adventure uncovering a conspiracy with the aliens. But no one could figure out how to get Ridley Scott on board with this busy schedule he had, so onwards with another idea, involving aliens attacking a spaceship with them all. So like Dawn of the Dead, but with aliens. Or I guess Stranger Things Season 3 with aliens, kind of. Then another one came about with monks on a planet being used for an illegal experiment which would eventually kind of become the actual movie in some ways, replacing the monks with prisoners but still having it be this planet that ended up having like nefarious reasons for it existing. So the actual one they went with had a pretty obvious ending for Ripley, yet because the movie still made money, they wanted to continue on. So they hired a writer, we'll get to them later on, and wrote a draft that brought back Ripley in an attempt to make her a character that you didn't know where her loyalties lied, whether with the aliens or humans. Sigourney Weaver liked this idea and signed on because she felt like it recaptured the spirit of Alien and Aliens. Oh, and also because she got a co-producing credit and got $11 million to be in this film, so that probably helped. And so they got Jean-Pierre Jeunet to direct, impressed with his work on The Lost City of Children and his visual style in general, to direct the film. And what film did we get? Well, a story about Ripley being cloned, like I alluded to. Also, just in case you haven't noticed, I actually wrote the captions, so in case you don't fully understand what I'm saying, you can click them and they'll actually be accurate because it's what I wrote for the video, so there's also that. But anyways, Ripley's cloned, but with the chestburster removed, keeping them alive for a group of military-trained xenomorphs to be kept alive by Ren and Gettyman on a ship called the Auriga. They talk to Ripley once she's awoken to tell her about how Weyland-Yutani, the big bad of the series, has been bought out. Okay, weird choice, but let's give it some time. Maybe it'll grow on me.
Oh, they went under decades ago, Gettyman, way before your time. Bought out by Walmart.
Oh. Well, anyway, some pirates arrive, bringing along some kidnapped humans who are face hugs, so yeah, not really likable characters. So I guess that means it's totally reasonable to make them the main characters we follow for the whole movie. Yeah, okay. Anyway, some of the aliens and humans seem to have a thing for each other, leading to them dragging Gettyman down for some freaky times. They break out and kill some of the soldiers, leading to probably the best sequence in the film, barely 40 minutes in. Eventually all the characters regroup, some get killed in a variety of ways. Ren betrays the group to bring the ship full of xenomorphs down to Earth, but then he gets killed. Meanwhile, the skeleton crew left finds the ship the pirates came to and leave just as the Auriga detonates, landing in Earth and killing everyone within a 300-mile radius. The end. Yeah, I think you can tell some of the problems of this film already. Yeah, the characters in this movie suck, man. We'll get to Ripley later, but the other characters are just as obnoxious. Now, humor hasn't been a new thing for this franchise. What's the matter? The food ain't that bad, babe. But this film seems to take it to the next level, and by next level I mean shit. Because you'll have a rather horrifying scene like the innocent people getting captured to be face-hugged, and then 20 seconds later you have Ron Perlman trying to flirt with the Ripley clone. It's really tonally inconsistent, and the writing does it no favors. Because the majority of the characters are complete assholes, you feel nothing for them when they bite the dust. Because, let's go over them, they're not interesting. We have Cal, possibly the only decently moral character in this whole thing. Her character is that she's a robot built by robots, and thus leads to some tensions. Problem is, we did this exact same thing with Bishop in the last movies, and surprise surprise, Cal ends up being good just like him. Then we have the rest of the pirates, most notably Jonar, who's just a really bizarre mixed bag. On the one hand, you got Ron Perlman doing the best he's got. On the other hand, yeah, this.
Well, if you don't want to play
basketball. I know some other indoor sports.
He's such a brass, crass character that feels emblematic of the worst traits you could give to one. He's like a Michael Bay character, and it's not a compliment.
Who do I have to fuck to get off this boat?
I can get you off. Maybe not the boat.
Next we have Christie, who isn't the greatest. His death scene is real stupid, but he seems to be at least a little bit better than the others, and is far more entertaining. Next we got Elgin. Yeah, that's about it. Then we have Sabra, we'll get to her later, and then Vress. He's alright, bar a few lines. He's a bit goofy, but at least he's consistent and helpful. Then we got the scientists, and possibly the best characters, Gettyman and Wren. Gettyman is such an anomaly to me, because he's barely in the movie, yet he leaves such an interesting impact. It helps that he's played by Brad Dourif, the voice actor of Chucky.
I have a date with a 6-year-old boy.
Also this.
Something of a predator, isn't she?
So it's really bizarre that after the aliens escape, he's pretty much taken out of the movie until the end, yet he still manages to be one of the most entertaining characters. I think it's because he genuinely seems to believe what he's doing is right, unlike Wren, so it just makes it more engaging to see where he goes with it. Only for him to die. So yeah. Also, Wren's just kind of funny.
Ah, the intellectual speaks.
So there's that. Tuco's also in this movie too. As well as a character named Purvis. His death scene is pretty cool, so there's also that. Oh yeah, and Perez is here too. Let's talk about him. I think no character better exemplifies the disconnect between the writing and the tone of this film better than this character. Because he's heading an operation where literal monsters are being militarized, innocent people are being kidnapped and succumb to horrible fates. Yet the movie and this character just plays it off so comedically.
Oh, I see. Stupid me. Of course.
And thus, this film suffers a severe tonal disconnect from what's actually happening in the film to how it's played out. Like, these events are horrifying. People are being blown up to contain this horrific threat, yet Perez is just acting like a total Bugs Bunny character, even in his death. It's really weird and makes the film oddly enjoyable in a way I don't think they intended to, or at the very least the audience wasn't intending to. And that's all because of the writer of this film, so I think it's time we address the elephant in the room. So, yeah, in case you didn't know, Joss Whedon's been responsible for some of the biggest blockbusters, mostly in budget but also in terms of box office. I mean, he was responsible for the first 2 Avengers movies, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and also the 2017 Justice League. And if there's anything that people criticize from those movies, it's their humor.
Nobody has to break anything.
Clearly, you've never made an omelet.
And in a way, this movie perfectly exemplifies what would happen if those movies were rated R and had no restraint. Completely comedic in both the best and worst ways.
Who are you expecting, Santa Claus?
Because, you see, I've been mostly holding off from the female characters for a while, and that's for a reason. Because if there's anything else that also gets criticized in his movies, it's the treatment of his female characters. So what character does Sabra have? Not a lot. But there's a form of nudity, which is a first. I mean, these movies have always had some implications of sex. Back in the original, there was a deleted scene between Ripley and Dallas, but this is the first time any character has been overtly sexualized. Hell, we even see boobies in this one, although it's not really sexual. Same thing with Alien Covenant, although that movie's much more sexual with the boobies. Similarly, both these movies put the franchise on ice for exactly 7 years each, and also came out the 7th year of each decade. Sabra just has literally no character development as well, besides being pretty and being able to pilot, which conveniently, she doesn't actually do once the plot gets going. She just gets dragged away by one of the aliens in one of the few unironically good scenes, and that's it. And throughout the film, you'll see a very prominent asshole nature that's kind of prevalent with these women. Like, these characters just get so aggressive so quick, and extends to how the women are treated and how they're kind of just insulted all the time.
It's a big deal, man. Fucking waste of ammo. Must be a chick thing.
Kinda sexist if you think about it. But you know what? Maybe I'm wrong. I'm sure Joss Whedon isn't a bad writer and isn't responsible for any sexualization of female characters. Ripley is, well, dead, and thus we get her clone, which is not a good thing. See, Ripley in the earlier films was, well, not this. She was this average person, a blue-collar worker, thrust into an environment meant to kill people, an unimaginable situation that she managed to rise up to with her wits and strength. Now...
Who do I have to fuck to get off this boat?
Yeah, man, that's my reaction too. Woof. She's essentially been reduced to this alien psychic who can also tell when the ship is running. Alright, She's also really rude to Purvis, even though theoretically she should be able to relate to this average human screwed over by this big company and has a chest burster inside him. It's just so incredibly out of character and goes with the cynical nature of this film. If anything, it really goes to show how much Joss Whedon put his style into this movie and really didn't plan to have Ripley in this. It really doesn't work. It removes any of the charm and relatability she ever had. It makes her this weird sort of pseudo-alien queen later on, and loses any likability she has. Or had, I guess. And I guess she wouldn't like humans, yeah, that makes sense given what they've done to her, but damn, is it ever not interesting. However, the scene of her finding the other clones is legitimately haunting and cool, makes this new company seem all the more villainous, or just straight up all the more villainous, and gives her a reason for her hatred. But again, just not interesting when every character is this mean. I get the whole point of her character is, like I mentioned earlier, one where you don't know whether or not she's loyal to the aliens or the humans, but the problem is, pretty early on it's made abundantly clear she doesn't like them and is willing to kill them, like all of them, making that point pretty moot in retrospect, so yeah, so much for that. But I do like the increased badassery towards the aliens. It kind of goes with her character evolution, so that's one thing they got right. She's willing to kill these aliens, and she's still killing these aliens. Speaking of which, I have to say, these aliens are probably my favorite version up until this point, because it's made explicitly clear they do not give a shit about each other. Now, I know I just complained about that when the humans did it, but with the xenomorphs it kind of works in a weird way. It mixes the individual xenomorph doing their own thing in Alien, and sometimes working together for the Queen in Aliens. It's not a perfect mix. It still seems like they, same with everyone else, hate each other and are at the boiling point of just killing everyone, and that gets repeated later on with another alien, we'll get to that, especially considering the way they escape is just by murdering one of their own and having the acid melt through the floors, which like, hey guys, you should have planned for this. It's common knowledge that their blood is acidic, but I kind of like that. I kind of like the way that they still kind of screw with each other, but still kind of help each other. It's an interesting mix. It shows that they can work together, but still screw each other over because they're not supposed to be good. I mean, they're not exactly listed as good guys anywhere, so it makes sense and works. Plus, I just love the design of the aliens and find them endlessly fascinating. No matter how much we see them, they still manage to be scary. I don't know, that design still manages to work. It's so human, yet weirdly not. It works to be uncanny and give you a sense of dread. Plus, I just really like the underwater scene. Despite the offhanded nature of Sabra's death, it's still pretty cool. Makes sense with their webbed feet, making them seem all the more alien. It's just the little things like that that really elevate their design. Hell, we even see the queen, who is giving birth the human way. Seems like a downgrade, but okay. She even gives birth to this. Oh. Oh no. So, we finally reached the end, or rather close to the end, and the part most people remember from this movie. The newborn birth from the alien queen, and she's dead. Nice, okay, keeping up with that asshole nature from before now, I see. Now, I have a dark secret to tell you. I actually like this thing. It's really weird and superhuman looking, but that's kind of the point. It's supposed to be more human than the others, especially in its eyes. It's not really sure what to do. It can care for Ripley, but can kill Tuco. Oh, sorry. Vincent DiStefano. Cool name, actually. Gonna be honest, going off on a brief tangent, Vincent dying has gotta suck, being the last one to perish. Like, he's the last one to die in the movie. He also takes around like an hour and 10 minutes before contributing to the plot, but whatever, it's still gotta suck. However, he's not the only one to die here, as the newborn's first real action is to kill Gettyman. Damn! He was the coolest character in this movie. Shit. However, this one bit I like is that originally the newborn was supposed to have both genitals, a mix of a penis and a vagina. You know, definitely interesting. And I have to admit, the newborn is probably the best way to end this video, besides the brief outro and final thoughts I'll give, along with one interesting fact, because it perfectly encapsulates this movie and its weird nature and aura. So bizarre, kind of mimicking how normal humans act, but just weird enough to be completely alien and kind of fun. So yeah, we finished this movie, you and I. Finished this weird adventure. There's a lot of death, stupidity, weirdness, and weird deaths that made no sense. But, we're here. However, one last thing and fact kind of I'd like to mention is that Earth is just kind of characterized as terrible, but nobody explains why.
Earth, man. What a shithole.
However, in the alternate ending, there's at least some explanation. The film ended somewhat similarly, just as the characters landed in Paris, or Paris, rather what's left of it, because Earth as we know it is gone. Kinda weird, seeing as we never really got a good look at Earth and its condition in the series, besides the Predator movies, but there's no real setup for why Earth is destroyed, other than the theory that Blade Runner also takes place in the same universe, so yeah, what happened there caused all of this, or the Lacerda plague, briefly mentioned by Call in this movie, but yeah, no real reason. Thought I'd mention that. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed the video, got some others like it, and some others coming soon. Let me know if you like the style, going over the film in several different, chapters, rather than just a plot mentioning those specific things at specific points during the plot. Maybe I'll do a mix, let me know. You can see most of my videos follow that kind of, plot thing, but sometimes I occasionally break it up, so just let me know. You can follow me on Instagram and or TikTok, see what my life is like and what other movies I've seen recently, like Trap, which I saw pretty recently a couple days ago. Haven't made a review, but maybe I will. Definitely a fun movie, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.